Pagonia. Thanks to the great explorer Meldrick, our land once stretched from coast to coast. Our many tribes settled in different regions where they specialized in the local raw materials. But we were still united as one people.
Let's be honest for a moment. If you enjoy city builders and have a soft spot for economic simulations, you know the Settlers. And a lot of us have been trying pretty hard to forget what that series turned into in the end. That's exactly where Pioneers of Pagonia comes in, a game that very openly says, we know what you want. Busy roads, supply chains, tiny people hauling planks from A to B, and absolutely no live service nonsense on top. With version 1.0 releasing on December 11th, Pioneers of Pagonia aims to fulfill that nostalgia-shaped gap. It doesn't just offer the classic Wuzel Factor sandbox, but also a full campaign and a lot of quality of life improvements. And the already integrated map editor lets you create your own scenarios and share them with others. The short version, it's surprisingly easy to get into even if it's such a vast game, especially if you played the Settlers and similar games before. You can work on multiple objectives in parallel, the game hits you with plenty of tutorials and text pop-ups to guide you, you only produce tools when they are needed, and clear missions goals pull you through the campaign. At the same time, not everything is perfectly smooth. The story relies heavily on text windows, the game speed seems to reset a bit too often, and sometimes it all feels a bit too explanatory for its own good. In this video, we'll take a look at how Pioneers of Pagonia actually plays in version 1.0, what has changed compared to early access, and whether this really isn't the city builder successor fans have been waiting for. Quick disclaimer before we dive in, Envision Entertainment kindly provided me with a review key for Pioneers of Pagonia so I could test version 1.0 ahead of the official release. My opinion, however, is still my own, and also very important, version 1.0 is not the end of the road. DLCs and further updates are already planned, and a more detailed roadmap is supposed to arrive somewhere in January.
But one day, normal life came to an abrupt end. The catastrophe destroyed our homes and our community. Our land was shattered into many islands, scattered to the winds. Tribes, villages, and families were ripped apart.
Something strange has happened in the beautiful and once thriving realm of Pagonia. A mysterious fog has rolled in and shattered the continent into countless islands. You play as a small group of pioneers setting sail to find out what happened and to reunite the scattered settlements. Of course, everything goes wrong at first. You suffer a shipwreck, wash up on one of the islands, and start building your very first settlement from scratch. Your goals? Explore the island, find your captain, and recover a magical compass that will guide you through the fog. But that fog is more than just a nice weather effect. Raiders and thieves, hostile tribes, ghosts, and werewolves all make your life difficult and are more than happy to sabotage your carefully planned economy. Pioneers of Pagonia doesn't just throw you into the cold water though. From the very beginning, the game takes you by the hand with storytelling and clear mission objectives. Most of the time, there isn't much pressure. You build your first lumberjack, place a few houses, gather stone and food, and then simply watch the first inhabitants of your new settlement start wandering around in good old fashion, hauling materials from A to B. The game clearly wants to build pressure only in rare cases. The message is, you're supposed to relax here. You already have enough stress during the day. Easier said than done, because sometimes it just can't be avoided. Already in Mission 3, you end up in a little race against a set of objectives, and if you don't complete them in time, it's sadly game over. The good news is, you can always turn individual missions down to an easier difficulty if you need to. There's also a dedicated story mode with significantly less resistance, and the developers promise you more than 30 hours of story campaign where you slowly bring hope back into a broken world. In terms of gameplay, everything feels familiar very quickly. You can work on several missions or rather development goals at the same time. That makes the game feel pleasantly open while still giving you a gentle nudge into the right direction. If you're already familiar with the genre, the early game is very straightforward. It's almost like riding a bike. You know, once you've done it before, the feeling comes back immediately. On top of that, there are a lot of tutorials and help text. On the one hand, that's great because you rarely feel lost. On the other hand, I can absolutely see people turning them off after a while, especially if you're already deep into those kind of games. The many text boxes sometimes feel more like a very detailed manual than a classic quest log. Informative, but not always exciting. The heart of the game, however, is of course the economy. The developers advertise up to 3,000 Pagonians, more than 60 building types, and over 100 different goods, all simulated and visible. And yes, you do feel that. On the larger maps, at some point it stops feeling like you're tweaking a couple of production lines and starts feeling like you're watching a living ecosystem. The automated production chains are a big part of that. Some goods like food are produced permanently to keep your population supplied, while tools are produced on demand whenever they are needed. You build the infrastructure and trust the system to take care of the rest. But blind trust is always a bad idea here. You absolutely need to keep an eye on things like your food supply. If that collapses, your carriers are the first ones to disappear, and once they are gone, your entire supply chain falls apart. Things also get interesting when it comes to map design and replay value. The islands are procedurally generated, except for the campaign ones, of course. So you constantly get new landscapes, villages, factions, and objectives. On top of that, there are various challenges in the form of enemies, treasures, resources, and hidden artifacts that can significantly change the balance of the world. If you don't want to build alone, you can jump into co-op. In shared co-op, you can build a settlement together with up to 3 friends, 4 players in total, perfect for everyone who always wanted to argue about road placement at a crossroad with actual people. And for the creative crowd, there's the already mentioned map editor. With a map editor, you can build your own worlds and share them with the community, basically becoming one of the builders of Pagonia yourself. On the technical side, version 1.0 runs noticeably smoother than what I remember from early access. Even larger settlements feel comfortably playable now, even on AMD hardware, which is always a thing, you know. And honestly, those settlements can get huge because the maps offer a lot of space to expand and you can solve increasingly complex logistics puzzles. Whether you build in complete chaos or in a perfect checkerboard pattern, the game lets you do it and doesn't judge you for it. However, there are still a few things that annoy me. A small but constant irritation is that the game speed keeps resetting whenever help text pops up. And like I said earlier, the many text boxes do explain a lot, and they explain it well, but at times they can feel a bit too present. As quality of life improvements, I'd love to see things like upgrading houses with a single click or using multiple garrisons to coordinate attacks on enemy positions. Right now, especially the latter, still involves quite a bit of clicking to really pinch the enemy from multiple sides. Back in early access, Pioneers of Pagonia always felt like it was missing that one thing to keep me invested in a long run. With the campaign in the final release, that something is finally here. It's a spark I needed to really get excited about classic Wuselfaktor city building again. So this time, no salt at all from me. Version 1.0 with the campaign is solid, runs well, and is fun to play. So yes, I can honestly recommend it. If you enjoyed the Settlers 1 and 2, you'll very likely feel right at home here. But more important, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one.